So I've been listening to him. I've been thinking to myself, I've been in this business for over a decade. Over a decade. Obviously, I didn't start at Genesis Pure. But I'm going to tell you something. The idea of today's training, I'm going to try to wrap it up in the next hour today. My objective is not to hype you up. I don't mean to be offensive to that company. They're a pillar in this industry, but I'm going to tell you something. I think all they've left today is hyped up. My hopeful expectation of my performance tonight, because I've seen the other performers today, and they've done a great job, is to leave you today with hope that you can build this business. Because over a decade ago when I got introduced to this industry, I needed that hope. I was building a company, doing extremely well at 30 years of age. But I was that guy who loved what I did for a living. I loved being successful. I loved to earn income. Let me tell you something. The guy that says it's not about the money, either is broke or he has no kids. All right? I loved that part of life. But I'll tell you what I didn't like is I loved what I didn't see who I loved. And I needed this business like I needed my next breath of fresh air. I want to leave here today, not with a bunch of hype. I'm not going to sing and dance for you, promise you. Tony said, thank God. I'm not going to sing and dance for you today, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave you with 10 points today that I truly, truly hope that you leave here. And as Denise Porter alluded to, that 400 or whatever she said pound phone becomes a reality that it's only just a few pounds heavy. That's what I want you to walk away from today. I hope it's been exciting. I hope it's been informative. I want you to leave here with hope that you can do this. I don't care where you're at in life. You don't get paid in this business because of how good looking you are. You don't get paid in this business because you can public speak. You don't get paid in this business because you have or don't have any money. You get paid in this business because you follow a system. You plug in just to a few critical little things. And by plugging into those just a few little things, you can build an enormous opportunity. Enormous. And you know what, everybody in this room, not everybody truly, I mean, some of you go, you may be surprised that I say this. Not everybody in this room wants to be a black diamond. They've got other things going on in life. But I'll tell you what you would like to do. You'd like to make an extra $300 or $400 a month. Is that true? Huh? Is that true? Yes, it is. I know it is. You're going to have people within the organizations that you're part of. Notice I didn't say your organization. I didn't say your team. My team's not here. The organization that I happen to be blessed to be part of is here. I don't own them. They're here because they spent their own money, their own time, their own energy to be here. Respect your organizations that you're part of. But understand, there's people within that organization, they don't have that drive. They don't want to have it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'll tell you what they do need and want is a few extra $100 every single month to make the payments, to start a college education for their kids, to do the little things. I want to provide that person today hope that they can do that here. So as I talk about vision today, and I talk about dream building, I talk about setting goals, understand, my objective in this business is to be at the highest level I possibly can be in this company. That's just where I'm at. Where are you going to go with it? If all it is to build that few extra $100, my hat is off to you. You're probably doing it part-time. You're raising a family. You're working a full-time job. You'll never hear me talk about it. You'll hear guys in this business talking about the J-O-B, right? Y'all ever heard that? Just over broke, right? Just over broke. And you'll hear people be condescending to work at a full-time job. Last time I checked, I walked into a bedroom last night and had fresh sheets on my bed. Somebody else made my breakfast this morning. My kids are getting taught every single day by a school teacher that this world desperately needs. This isn't about quitting your full-time job. It's not about that at all. If you want to build it to that level, that's great. But if all you want to do is help your family out at a particular level, this is the place to be. Figure out where that is for you, and that's what we're going to talk about today. All right? Figure out where that is for you, and those things we're going to talk about today. Just realize that as I talk, I may be talking at the level that I'm looking to build this to. Just dumb it down. Dumb it down to where you're at and what you want to do in this business. All right? I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about you first on the first half of the session today, and on the back half I'm going to talk about the team, the organization. When I'm talking to you and I'm talking to the team, I'm really talking about you may be brand new in this room, and so this may be all new information to you. If you're not brand new in the room, I'm talking to you too, though, because this is how you need to express building this business to the new person. How you're talking to your new person, because they've got to understand this at the what I call the you level. I'm talking to you right now. And then we're going to talk about building the team, building the organization, okay? The first thing that I'm going to talk about today is what I call elevate to excellence. My wife hates it how I do the double E's and the double D's, and I'm just going to tell you right now, the next one's not a double anything, but this one is elevate to excellence. What's your excellence level? What's that level for you? It doesn't matter if you're in JD's group or you're in the Kowicki's group or you're in JR and Vicky's groups. It doesn't matter what their level. What's your level? That's what we want to elevate to, because this is what I can tell you. In corporate America, no offense for those of you that are in corporate America, I've had an eyeball look at corporate America. Never really worked for somebody to speak of, but I was part of McDonald's. I was part of Shell Corporation. I own convenience stores and McDonald's franchises. I've seen the corporate side of it, all right? Didn't necessarily work for them, I had my own business. But this is what I figured out as I watched those companies, and I watched the people within those companies. The view for the guy climbing the corporate ladder never changed. They're always looking up at what? Somebody else's butt. Let's just call a spade. That's what you're looking at. And here's the deal. When you join that corporate America, they're there to help teach and train. That person above me, he's going to teach and train me how to do this business at only such a level, because he or she don't want me to get any better than who? Them. That's exactly right. And that's the difference between Genesis Pure and corporate America. I'm here to teach and train you. There's a lot of you in this room today that are not part of the organization that I'm blessed to be part of. A lot of you. But I'm willing to invest my time, my energy, my expertise in the business to help you become all that you can become, to achieve that level of excellence for you and your family. This isn't about me. Sponsors, it's not about you. If you've got people within your organization here today, it isn't about you, it's about them. But let's start with you. What's your vision? Number one, what's your vision? You hear people talk about this a lot. I'm a football coach. I've had the privilege of working with I live in a little town of 600. Get this, for you football guys and gals, I live in a little town of 600. I had the privilege of coaching, you ready for this? 3 professional athletes. 1 3-time Pro Bowler in the NFL, 11 seasons. Another one played 7 years in the NFL, and a Major League Baseball player. Has nothing to do with the coaching, trust me. Rich environment for success. But I'll tell you what, every one of those guys would tell you today, I didn't care about making them better football players. I cared about making them good daddies. I cared about making them businessmen. I cared about making them leaders in their communities. And I will tell you this, there's a neat thing called texting today, and every now and then my machine will go off and it'll be a text from one of those guys. And I will tell you, as I look back at all the text messages I just get periodically from these guys, they all talk about one thing to me. Thanks for teaching me vision. Thanks for talking so much about vision. I'm telling you, if your leaders are talking about vision, there's a reason for it. Don't downplay it. Because here's the thing. We live in this world, and it's so easy to get caught up in the mundane. It's so easy to get caught up in negativity. It's so easy to get caught up in mediocrity. You can't let that happen to you. This is a business that's over the fence, down the field, away from where you are today. That's the type of business this is. But the only way that you're going to see down there is if you have a crystal clear vision of where you want to go in this thing. What is your vision? Are you crystal clear on it? You got to be. Because as somebody, as I think Denise alluded to, it's not always easy. This business is not always easy. And I'm going to tell you something. When your best friend looks at you and says, Benji, you're crazy. You're getting started in what? Man, it's hard to stay involved, isn't it? I see you shaking your head. It happened to you. It happened to me. It happened to Joni and I. Man, you're going to lose every single dime you have because nobody's ever made it in this business. Well, that's a scary thought. I don't care if you're coming to the table with a thick bank account or you're coming to the table with nothing. When somebody tells you you're about to lose everything, that's a hard pill to swallow. Here's the thing. They probably never involved in this thing before. And all of a sudden they became an expert when they heard I was involved in it. My vision was crystal clear. My vision was crystal clear. I wanted to spend time with my boys and my girls. Crystal clear. I wanted to be the daddy that sat in the stands at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Every single game, if I wanted to be there, I could be there. And I'll be danged if I was going to let anybody get in my way. There wasn't a man or a woman big enough to keep me from that vision. That's what I wanted for my life. How crystal clear is your vision? Here's the thing about vision. We talk a lot about it. Here's a key point for you. It has got to be rock solid. I hope you hear it in my voice. It's got to be rock solid. It is unwavering. It don't care what anybody else says. There's another piece of it that's going to be a little bit more flexible. The vision is not. There's a gentleman in the room. He's a full-time school teacher, platinum director in this company, Matt Vermeer. Matt Vermeer's vision is to bring his wife home from a full-time job to raise their babies. It's never wavered. It's rock solid. It's set in place. Get my debt paid for, become a debt-free 36-year-old man, debt-free at 36, and have my wife stay home. It's never wavered. What's your vision? Set it in stone. Write it down and make it happen. That takes us now into goal setting. You cannot set a goal if you do not have your vision. Can't do it. Back on the football field. I apologize. I talk football a lot. Back on the football field. Every young man wanted to bench press 500 pounds, whatever. Every young man wanted to be just like Coach Michael. They wanted to be where I was at. Most of them didn't realize that I lifted weights for 25 years of my life. But they all wanted to be there. Here's the deal. They'd set a goal. They'd set their goals and they'd turn it in. I always see this in the freshmen. By the time they were seniors, they were a lot smarter. Okay? But all the freshmen had turned in their sheets. All right? I don't care if they were 6'2" and 250 or they were 5'11" and 94 pounds. Every one of them turned their sheet in and said bench press 500 pounds. All right? Here's the deal. That was their goal. But when I asked them this, when I brought them all together in the weight room and I said, what's your vision for this year? They didn't know. So you want to bench press 500 pounds, coach? Isn't that what you want? No. That's your goal. What's your vision? Your vision's what? Non-wavering. Set in stone. Hardcore. Your goal comes after your vision. Define your vision and then set your goal. Define your vision and then set your goal. The goal setting becomes very specific. I'm just going to tell you straight up. If your goal is to make more money, this will probably be the last event you ever come to. I'm just telling you that. If your goal is to make more money, it's probably going to, it gets too hard. This business is too hard. But it does have to be specific. Okay, let's talk about money. Let's talk about it. What do you do with money? Spend it? Okay. From a positive standpoint. Pay off debt, right? Pay off debt. Start a savings account. Invest. Invest. You realize, I just heard the other day that with all investments, all savings, all forms of future security in life, 51% of America has more debt than they have savings. 51%. What's your goal if your objective is to earn more money? What specific goal do you have? That's what's going to be important. The money won't drive you enough, because I'm going to tell you something. When you sat down, I don't care what pin level you're at, when you sat down for a week and you've made whatever JR's was it 3 calls a day? So you've made 21 calls in 7 days and 20 of them told you no? There ain't a dollar bill big enough to keep me in this thing, right? There is if my vision's solid. And there is if my goal is not to make the dollar, but my goal is to be a stay-at-home daddy. If my goal is to get out of debt. That's big enough. Your goal's got to be specific. It's got to be written down. Don't underestimate that. These guys, we've all got goal sheets. If you don't have a goal sheet, Get it. Get it. It's that important. My athletes have written down goal sheets every year that I was their coach. We didn't go into a season without a goal sheet, period. Once again, it's a hard business. It's got to be specific. Those goals got to be written down. Number 3, they got to be measurable. Don't just set that goal out there that says I want to be debt free. You got to be able to set some. You got to be able to set some points in the middle. What I call the benchmarks of achieving that goal. They got to be measurable, because if your goal is just to pay off $50,000 worth of credit card debt, man, that $50,000 gets consuming. It gets overwhelming. It becomes too much. And when there's enough negativity in this world, and all of a sudden this business isn't being built the way you want it to be built, it's not going fast enough because you didn't go from 0 to diamond in 6.2 days, you quit. But if you've got some measurable goals out there, I want to get this done first. I want to pay off this first. I want to establish this much in savings, and I'm going to do it in these increments. This month, this much, this month, this much, this much, this month. That's tough to say. It becomes measurable, becomes benchmarks. Don't underestimate that. You want to know why people quit their New Year's resolution by January 17th? There's nothing measurable about it. There's no benchmarks. 40 pounds is a lot of weight to lose. And when it doesn't come off really fast, why do you think I own a McDonald's franchise? People want it when? Now. They want it right now. They want to be able to go through that drive-thru, and they want it just a few seconds, and if it's a second too long, they're mad. Nothing's changed. That's the way people are in this business. Understand this. I want to get off track here. Listen. This is business. This is business. I didn't build my first convenience store, McDonald's, thinking that I was going to be a millionaire in the first 6 months. I built it knowing that it was going to take time. $2.3 million per facility. You're not going to be a millionaire on $2.3 million investment in the first 6 months. Why do you think you got to make $2.3 million or be a millionaire in the first 6 months in this business? Treat it like a business, and it'll ultimately pay you. At whatever level you're treating it like a business at. We're going to get in that when we talk about team building. All right? Treat it like a business, and it'll pay you. Make your goal setting specific, written down, measurable. Make them realistic. Come on now. Make them realistic. It don't matter what your sponsor's doing. It doesn't. Make it realistic for you. Listen, if you're a single mom and you're raising 2, 3 little girls, and you're working a full-time job or you're working 2 full-time jobs, to say you're going to be a diamond in the first 5 months of this business, I'm just telling you straight up. Boy, you better be willing to go to work, honey. It's not going to be easy to do that. I'm not sure that's really realistic. I'll tell you what is realistic. Ruby. I'll tell you that is realistic. Set realistic goals. Be inspired. The last thing is this. Be inspired by your goal. People call me a motivational speaker. Let me give you a news flash. Okay? The average age in this room is probably about my age, 45. You got motivated by your mama. All right? I'm not here to motivate you. Your goals aren't going to be what motivates you. What's going to motivate you? Your vision. That's what motivates you. Make your goals inspiring to yourself. Make your goals inspiring. Make your goals something that gives you value. Makes you feel like the person you ought to feel like. Make them inspiring for you. Point number 3 now. We've talked about vision. We've talked about goal setting. We're talking about you now. Now we're talking about game planning. Now we're going to talk about game planning. This is the strategy side of what we do. Okay? Your vehicle in this business, your vehicle here is a vitamin. Let's get that straight. Vehicles are vitamin. That's what people say to me all the time. Well, you don't have to sell anything here. Last time I checked, every time that you sell a product and there's a money exchange, give a product, that's called a sale. It's not called sharing, it's called selling. Okay? We sell products in this business. Our vehicle is a product, a world-class product with a philosophy that's unmatched. And if you don't believe that, check yourself. I've been in this business for over a decade, and I'm going to tell you something, that what impressed me 3.5 years ago and what's helped me build a pure diamond level in this company, a rock solid business in this company right now, what's helped me do that is the understanding from the gate, right out of the gate, I had a philosophy that was unmatched. And I say this humbly, I think I can call myself an expert in this business. I've done it a long time. A long time. Dr. Duncan's philosophy is off the charts. It separates us. It doesn't mean everybody else is garbage, but it separates us. Cleanse, balance, build. From the product side, show, share, connect. Mr. Burnett put together for us. Those two systems separate us. That's our game plan. That's the strategy to be successful here. You've got to create your strategy. Here's where people get off track in their strategy. I love Mark Polson. How many of y'all know Mark Polson, Coach P? Coach P is the first guy that I called about for Genesis Pure. Pretty good phone call, wasn't it? Let me tell you something about Coach P. I didn't know Mark that well. I met Mark 14 years ago. I met him through the strength coach of the Tennessee Titans, Coach Watterson. My wife and I met him sitting at Tennessee Titans Stadium one night. Mark's an intimidating dude, baby. Okay? He's a little intimidating. I'll tell you why I called him. Because he was smarter than me. He didn't intimidate me. I knew he was smarter than me. And I knew that I could call him and I could say, Mark, I've got this product called Genesis Pure. Tell me more about it. Take a look at it. Give me your expertise on it. Tell me what you think. That's how I got Mark involved. So if you got those people in your life, don't be intimidated by it. They can make you a lot of money. Okay? Don't be intimidated by it. Back to my story. Mark tells this, and he says it well. When we're talking about your plan, your strategy, your game plan, understand the importance of this. You have to work with those who want to work. You cannot spend your time with the 80%ers in this. You have to, as leaders, you have to define who it is that's excited about this. Who it is that wants to go to that next level. That next level doesn't have to be diamond. I know how hard it is to get to diamond. I'm looking for that person that just simply says, Steve, I can help me make a couple extra $100 a month. I'll do exactly what you say. Boom. I'm with them. I'll be with them all day long. Understand that your strategy has got to be a strategy that works. Listen, in football, if it's halftime and we're down 21-6, are we going to keep doing what we've been doing? No. No. Now, are we just going to throw the game book out? No, because that's all we know. But are we going to change our strategy? Absolutely. In this business, leaders, you're going to find people that say, I want to do this. These are the reasons why I want to do it. This is my vision. These are my goals. This is the time I'll commit to you. And the very first Sunday night phone call you do as a leader, are they on it? No. Forgive them once. All of a sudden then you're saying, hey, listen, we need to be doing some conference calls together. Okay? We're going to talk more about this later. We need to be doing some calls together. Let's do that. Let's set up Tuesday night. You and I are going to do some phone calls together. And all of a sudden you get a phone call at 3 o'clock Tuesday afternoon and they say, what? Yeah, I got this going on or that going on. Okay, that's strike two. I love baseball. Go Yankees. Come on, you got to love Jeter. You get strike two in this business. Listen, here's the deal, folks. You have to realize how important this business is for you. Do you understand that? This business is life-changing. I don't care what your neighbor said about it. This is a life-changing opportunity. And I will be darned if I'm going to let somebody who told me what they wanted, told me that they were going to do anything that I said as long as I had integrity and character with it, and then they can't get on a phone call. They can't put me on the phone with somebody new. They are quickly becoming what I call a 80%er. And they are not the people that I can afford to work with. Because the longer I work with that person, the longer I work with them, I'm watching my family's better future go where? Down the drain. I'm telling you that. They will suck the life out of you. Now, if somebody calls me and says, hey, Steve, listen, for whatever reason, life got in the way. Family illness. Whatever, I don't care. I'm just going to enjoy the products. But I'm going to be the first one to take my hat off to them. That's okay. People are going to just enjoy the products here. They may tell you one thing on the front end, right, Don? They may tell you right on the front end that's what they want to do. But ultimately, they just want to take products. Perfect. I'm going to love them there. We love our product users. Guess what? 90% of my check is product usage. 90% of my check every single week, week in and week out, is a whole bunch of people buying a little bit of what? Product. I'm going to love them. But they clearly are no longer, I don't care what they said to me was their goal, what their vision was, they have now become clearly an 80%er. And you have to move on because your better future is lying in the balance of that person. Love them and move on. Number 4, working. Number 4. So we've talked about vision, we've talked about goal setting, we've talked about game planning, your strategy. Now we're going to talk about working. You know what the best way to build an organization is? Lead by example. Lead by example. You know, one of the things that I attribute the success of our high school football program, we're the winningest program in the state of Iowa. We've won state titles in 3 classes, the only school in the state of Iowa to ever do that. When people say to me, what do you attribute your success to? I believe with all my heart, I attribute that success to the leadership of a group of coaches by example. We don't play the game, but we lead every single day. We have coaches in the weight room at 5:30 a.m. every day with these boys and girls. We're leading by example. We pour our heart and soul into video, film work. We've been beat on a Friday night, and guess where we are Saturday morning? Watching film. Coaches know that. That's what we do. This business is no different. As you're building an organization, understand that your work ethic, what you do, will set the pace for your team. Don't fall into management mode. It'll kill your business. Don't do it. Been there, done it. Your work ethic will set the pace. And now it takes balance. That takes some balance because most of you in this room are part-time people. You're working full-time JOBs. You're raising a family. You got life going on. And you're trying to do this thing called Genesis Pure. You got to find balance in there somewhere. But let me tell you something. From the business side of it, you got to be the leader. You got to be the top dog. You got to get out there in front of everybody and let them see you sprint. Because if they don't see you sprinting at the front, I guarantee you they won't sprint. Guarantee it. Here's the other thing too. Know this. Y'all probably remember back in the track days. All right. My boys, I got 2 boys in college now and a senior daughter and an 8th grade daughter. I remember watching my boys, we got to go the whole track meet. My sons run sprints. They're at the very end. All right. But we're there for the whole track meet. Y'all remember this now. Kids go running around the track, right? They're running the 800, the mile, whatever. That last 200 meters, what do the top 2 guys do? Sprint. All right? And the second guy, though, seldom starts sprinting until he sees what? The first guy sprint. And now all of a sudden you got these 2 guys just giving it all they got down the front stretch to that finish line. It's no different in this business. If the organization that you're part of sees you sprinting, they'll sprint with you. Now let me give you a critical teaching point here. I'm going to get off track just a little bit here, but I want to say this. We all want everybody to join us. We all want everybody to be part of the team. I've got some really, really good friends in this world, but I just realized that they're not qualified prospects for me. They're great friends. Love them. Do anything for them. But they don't value their health, or they just don't care about the business. Whatever. They're not qualified prospects. That's reality. I may want them to be part of what I do. They're not going to be. Here's the deal. Catch this. When we're talking about sprinting in this thing, or being the lead dog, understand this. Be willing to help anybody run this race. Be willing to help anybody. I'm not in the military, but I use this analogy, and I hope it's very respectful. I'm just telling you who I am. If I was in the military and I was in a combat zone, you're looking at a man, and I say this with all, I mean it with all my heart, my wife will tell you. If my man's down, I'm not boarding that chopper. It ain't happening. That man will be on my back, and I will carry him out of that battlefield. When we're running a race, if you fall down 10, 15 yards from the finish line from just pure exhaustion, if we're on the same team, I'm that guy, I promise you, I'm going to stop and I'm going to pick you up, and we'll finish that race together. We'll let the judges figure out who won it, because I don't care. But here's what I will never do for you. Benji, I will not drag you to the starting line. That's on you, baby. Because the more time I spend dragging somebody to the starting line, the more time I'm what? I'm cheating everybody else within the organization from being all that they can be. If you can't big boy yourself up and get yourself to the starting line for your better future, for your family, I'm going to do it for you. Because this is the deal. If I got to drag you to the starting line, I'll be dragging your tail all the way down the track, baby. And it ain't happening. All right? You got to be the lead dog. You got to be the lead dog. Lead by example. It may be cliche, but I'm going to tell you something. This business, hear me clearly, over a decade of experience, if you're not, you will not build an organization here. Lead. Lead by example. It ain't always easy. Giddy up and get her done. Number 5. The last piece of the first half here. This is a hard one. This is a hard one. This is why I do a lot of leadership speaking, leadership presentation. John Kowicki spoke about it briefly. Seek wise counsel. Seek wise counsel. Denise talked about it when she talked about her personal growth. Man, listen, we'll all admit this. We've got enough people in our life that are trying to drag us down. I'm not saying that every job, every corporate American job sucks, as they said on the, what do they say, life sucking? Okay, I'm not saying every, there are people in this room that I hope you love what you do. I hope you do. I hope your jobs aren't life sucking every day. But here's the deal. I think most of us, I'd be willing to bet in my mid-40s, because I can look back on my own life, the majority of us have a whole bunch of what kind of people around us? Negative people. People that aren't going anywhere themselves and think we're crazy for trying to get somewhere. I live in a small town. Make money, try making money in a small town where everybody knows you. Right? They don't like you until they need money, you know, to help the sporting event or help the band or something like that. Seek wise counsel in this business. Listen, you're not looking at a very smart guy. My wife will tell you that. All right? Okay, I'm not dumb. I have no common sense. Is that fair? That's fair. She said yes. Here's the deal. I have done nothing. I'm telling you this. Trust me. She will affirm this. I have done nothing in my adult business world by my own creativity. Nothing. I got in to private business, a convenience store business. Buy this little bankrupt convenience store down the street. Honest to goodness, I can see it and I can hear it in my own ear. I said to him, if you need more than $30, I don't have it. Kelly had what I wanted. Kelly was my wise counsel. And I may not be the sharpest tack in the drawer, but I knew this. He was where I wanted to be. My life stunk. Period. And I wanted, like I wanted my next breath, my next glass of water, I wanted to be where he's at. He was my wise counsel. I'm not going to tell you that whole story, but how I got involved in that. But the bottom line is this. I got involved. I found a way. I got involved. And it changed my life. My wife heard a speaker one day. And my wife said, you can do that. You've got a story to tell. She begs me almost every 2-3 months to write a book. She said, you can do this. You got a story to tell. You've got a presence on the stage. I seen this guy named Mark down in Kansas City, I think it was. You can do this, Steve Michael. And what did I do? I started watching professional speakers. I wasn't looking at their content. I was watching how they walked across the stage. I was watching how they touched their coat. I was watching when they put their hand in their pocket. I'm not the sharpest tack in the drawer, folks, but I'm going to tell you what I do better than most people. Get this, and I'm going to talk about this on the next piece. I'll duplicate success better than anybody. Bottom line. As long as it's got character and it's got integrity with it, I'm all over it, baby. You step outside the lines, and I'm out of it. I ain't any better than anybody else, but I answer to a God. And my moral barometer runs 24/7. And if I don't think it's right, there ain't enough money to keep me here. All right? Seek wise counsel. I did it in my convenience store business to build me an empire. I did it in a professional speaking business. I did it in a business called network marketing. I sat in my office on a Saturday afternoon with a gentleman one day after he made a connect call with me on a Friday night. He drove 5 hours to my house and we sat and we visited. I finally had the gumption to look at this man and I said, Joe, he was a football coach, Division III college football coach, mountain of a man. I finally looked across the table at him and I said, man, this isn't a question that one man asks another. Pardon me if this is out of line, but you're asking me to join your business part-time. At that time of my life, I had multiple location convenience store McDonald's. I was doing professional speaking at a high level. I was coaching high school football. I was raising 4 children. 6, 5, 4, and brand new baby girl. How busy are you? And I was coaching high school football at a perennial powerhouse in the state of Iowa. And I finally looked at him and I said, Joe, listen, this may not be the right question to ask, but I said, how well are you doing in this gig? Because that's kind of important to me right now. You're looking at a man who's all about money. And he looked back at me and he says, I'm on track to do $750,000 this year. It's respectable. Not bad. I still don't think it's very manly. Men, come on. Do you leave coaching NCAA Division III football to sell a vitamin? I mean, really? I looked back at him and I said, Joe, I said, I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm doing pretty well in life right now. I said, I really don't know if there's anything in life that you do that I don't do. And he looked back at me with all of the, somebody spoke about courage today. He looked back at me, and when whoever that was that spoke about it, I thought of Joe. He looked back at me, he barely knew me. He looked back at me with all the courage in the world, steadfast, eyeball to eyeball, resolutely looking at me. And he says, oh, I do something you don't do. And I said, what's that? He says, I play catch with my kids, do you? I said, no, sir. I duplicated his success. Because why? He had something I wanted. It wasn't about the $750,000. It was about the time to spend time with my family. Remember, I loved what I did in life already, but I didn't see the people I loved the most. I seek wise counsel. I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I don't try to make Steve's system. I filled out an action sheet. 10 years in this business the day I started with Genesis Pure. I sat down with Jared Burnett. He told me about this action sheet. First of all, I'm a coach. I'm all over it. All right? Men, put your egos down. I'm sorry, I'm just going to get personal here. Men, put your egos down. I fill out action sheets all the time. It's built me a business in all of my businesses. A thriving business. Fill out that action sheet, Steve Michael. I wasn't too big for that. I didn't have too much experience. I filled it out. Because why? Jared said to. Filled it out. Still fill them out. My goals have changed. When I look back over a decade ago when I sat with Joe, what did Joe have? What do you think Joe sat in front of me? An action sheet. Looked a little different, but he had the same thing. I'll bet they've got it in Avon too, but they're too busy singing. Nobody's filling out their action sheet over there. They're all learning to be better singers. Fill out that action sheet. Seek wise counsel. And you'll build a business here. Okay? Now that's all about you. Let's change gears here and let's talk about your team. I'm sorry, honey. I actually did change the title here to Dynamics of Duplication. The double D. You can call Elevates Excellence E squared if you want to. We're going to call this the double D. Dynamics of Duplication. This is how, once you've got your vision, once you've got your goals set, once you're crystal clear in where you're trying to go in this, once you've established your work ethic, once you've realized the value of seeking the J.R. Burnett's, the JDs of this room, the Mitch and Hopes of this room, the other leaders, once you've got that down, now all of a sudden, Steve, what do I do with the new person? What do I do with the new person? What do I do with the Brian and Renee Nelson, who Renee didn't want anything to do with this business, told her story up here, a product story, but didn't want anything to do with the business. What do I do with that person to get them moving down the road in the business that her husband said we can do? What do? I got 5 key points for you. I was out here before we opened up the doors today, and a gentleman called me over, and he says, okay, so we're going to be here all day. And he says, I got this gentleman right here. Can't remember his name, I'm sorry. He's from Indiana, I believe. He has 11 new people here. Here was his $1 million question. What does he do when he leaves? What does he do when he leaves? I'm going to give you 5 things that I think if you will do with each and every new IBO that joins the organization that you're part of, you're going to build a business here. You can't not win. You can't not win at this. 5 things that I do over and over and over and over to build this business. If you're willing to do them, you'll build a business. I think the guy's name is John. John, if you're willing to do this, you're going to build a business. You'll come to the next event in May with 111 people. You'll build a business. Here they are, 5 things. They're not rocket science. That's not rocket science. But they're 5 things. Number 1, work closely with the new IBO for the first 30 days. There aren't very many people in this room that joined this company with 10 years of experience in network marketing. Everybody you meet says to you what? Oh, I know a lot of people. You ever heard that? Oh, I know a lot of people. You know what I've decided after a decade in this business? Every time I hear, oh, I know a lot of people, I think to myself, yeah, I'll never meet one of them. You got to walk side by side with them. Once they say yes, you got to spend time with them. You got to teach, train, and mentor. You got to show them the back office. Don't leave it for chance. This is too big a deal. You know, I'd like to think, Joni said this to me one day. I was calling somebody, talking about how to take the products. And God love her, she says to me, what do you mean? Can't they read the back of the bottle? I said, nope. It's not that they can't read. It said, I'm not going to leave it to chance. It's too big a deal. It's too important. My goodness, I'm driving here last night, and I get a text message from a gentleman. Steve, I got my products in. You got 5 minutes. Why? Because I told him that I wanted to know when he got his products in, because I want to make darn sure that he doesn't take Daily Bill on an empty stomach on day 1 and throw it up in the shower. Right? I want to make darn sure he does it right. Walk with your new IBOs. Show them the back office. Show them how to go online and change their auto ship. Take them back in and show them the graphical genealogy. I like to open up my graphical genealogy. You know, of course, your computer screen's only so big. But I open up theirs. I show them theirs, and what do you got? You got their name right here, and you got 2 boxes, right? All right? And they're looking at those 2 boxes, and they're like, oh, okay. Here, let me show you mine real quick. I pull mine up. Man, you want to talk about big eyeballs? Holy cow. I said, yeah, it started with 2. Mark Polson and Del Groders. Helped Del lose 55 pounds. Mark Polson and Del Groders. We've been blessed to introduce Genesis Pure to 143 people that said yes. 143 Mark Polsons, 143 Del Groder, 143 Matt Vermeers. We've introduced to 143 people. Our organization today is 13,000 people big. 143. I can prove it to you. I spent time with the people, though, to teach, train, and mentor on how to build this business. I've showed them that back office. I've showed them how to reorder. You don't go into my orders to create your new order. You go into Shop Now. You got to show people that. Show them every little piece you can about Genesis Pure. Get them on the text messages system. Get them plugged into, I don't care what system you use. We got lots of leaders, got lots of different systems. I don't really care what system you use. Plug into a system. Connectivity is the number one reason why I believe that people do not stay in this industry. They do not stay connected. Get your people connected. If you're not doing leadership calls and stuff like that, but you're plugged into a leader, get your new IBO plugged into that person. It's important. It's critical. Those first 30 days are huge. It's kind of like the foundation. Those first 30 days, from a business standpoint, is like your daily build. It's your foundation. It's the good nutrition you're pouring into their body from day one. Number two. Oh, back to number one. What do you always hear from the new person? I don't have a story. I can't share it with anybody. Your job as a leader is to provide that person with stories. They may not have a story yet. Be a leader. Share a story with them. Tell them yours, Jason. Tell them your wife's. Share a story or two. Take people to the website. They've got stories on the website. Tell people if you're going to build a business, you got to get familiar with these stories. They don't have to be your best friend. They don't have to be part of the organization you're part of, but they're a story about what the products have done for them. They're a story about the business model and how it works. Equip them with stories. I met a man 14 years ago. He's a $30 million income earner in this industry today. Again, I'm not the sharpest tack in the drawer, but I will follow success. This guy is an introvert. This guy is scared of his own shadow. This guy's built a $30 million residual income. $30 million income over the years he's been in this business. And I asked him one day, I said, Mark, what's the secret to this business? And he said, very simply, point to pictures and tell stories. Really? Point to pictures and tell stories. Everybody wants to do what? They want to hear about the what? The story. Why do you think National Enquirer is such a big selling magazine? Y'all are interested in the story. Right? Point to pictures and tell stories. That'll build your organization. Okay, number two. Just as important as it is for you to know your vision, and that it is concrete, and it is crystal clear, and it is unwavering, and there is nobody big enough to take it away from you. Y'all getting how important this is? Just as it's important for you to know how big your vision is, you have got to know the vision of the new IBO. You have to. Because it's going to do a couple things. It's going to hold them accountable to what they're trying to achieve. It's going to hold them accountable. I remember going back over a decade ago when I sat with this man named Joe. I got enrolled in that company. Joe clearly knew what I wanted to do. He knew that I wanted to make the income that I was making, and I wanted to be able to be a stay-at-home dad. I wanted to play catch with my boys. That's a better way of saying it. And he made a phone call to me just a couple weeks after we were involved in that company. And he says, hey, you and Miss Joni, we got this big event down in Atlanta, Georgia, and you guys need to be there. I had the bag phone back then. That's how long ago it was. I remember I could take you within a quarter mile of where I was on Highway 182 in Iowa, northwest Iowa. And I said to him, Joe, there is no way I can be there. I said, Joe, we've got all kinds of business going on. I've got a new store. I had speaking going on. Football at West Lyon is 24/7, 365, it seems like. I said, Joe, there's no way I can make it there. Joe said to me, he says, let me ask you this real quick. He says, let me ask you this. He says, do you still want to play catch with those boys someday? And do you still want to make the kind of money you're making right now in your full-time business? I said, well, yeah, of course I do. He says, great, I'll see you in Atlanta. He hung up. Is that a true story, Joni? Gospel. He hung up on me. How could he say that? He knew my own vision. He knew my why. He didn't only know his why, he knew my why. He knew how important it was going to be to keep me engaged and keep me focused on what it is that I wanted. He understood it himself. And he took me back to it when I needed to be taken back to it. I was only 2 weeks into this gig. And already I needed somebody to do what? Refocus me. I seen him. I seen the money he was making, but I lost my focus already. I was back to doing what? Building convenience stores, McDonald's, doing professional speaking, coaching football, and not playing catch with my kids. He took me back. Why? Because he knew my own why. He knew my focus. When you know somebody's why, you're able to help them get their ROI, the return on investment. If you don't know their why, you will never help them get that. Understand, in this business, getting somebody paid out of the gate is huge. Met a guy on a flight to Dallas a few weeks ago. Got him enrolled, already successful. Ain't doing this for the money. Already successful in life, loved our product, wants to make a difference. Wants to make more money, doesn't need to make more money. Called me yesterday. Says he just got online and looked at his second week commission. Did you catch that? His second week in the business commissions. His check is $500. I swear to you, I thought he just made 50 grand. He was so excited. Why? Because in 2 weeks, he has half of his initial investment paid for. His return on investment, 2 weeks in, is paid for. I could help him get there because I knew how bad he wanted to do this. And his level of why is what? He says, I want to be an ambassador in this company. And not a lot of people say that. He said, I want to be an ambassador in this company. Now that's going to be different from the person who says to me, Steve, because of life, can you just help me make a couple extra $100 a month? There's a difference there, is there not? The couple extra $100, there's nothing wrong with it. I just know where they're at. I know their why. I know how much time that I have to pour into that person that just wants to make a couple extra $100. Then I've got this guy, Dan. He wants to build an ambassador level. Okay, so I know how much time I need to pour into him. I also am able to differentiate between this. I'm able to differentiate between what this person's going to need to do to make an extra couple $100 versus what this person's going to need to do to build an ambassador level business. And they are distinctly different. And if I don't know, I can't help. If I don't know what their goal is, I can't help them get there. It's no different than sitting in front of somebody that you have not clearly defined what their health goals are. If you've not clearly defined their health goals, you can't get them where they want to be. And don't just assume that the person you're looking at wants to lose 40 pounds. I have met people that I'm looking at. I'm in the health industry. I'm 44 and fit. But I've looked at people and I've said, hey, you need to lose some weight. And they're not thinking they need to lose anything. They love the way they look. And part of the reason why they love the way they look is because their husband loves the way they look. And far be it for me to say, you need to lose 40 pounds. I'm going to get knocked off my chair. But guess what she is? She's a mama working a full-time job, and she's dog-tired. And she just wants more energy, and she feels like her hormones are out of whack. And I've got the products for her there, but I've got to figure out what it is that she wants. And then I position Genesis Pure as that solution. Same thing on the business side of it. Know their why. If you know their why, you can move a mountain. If you don't know their why, you'll scale the mountain, and you'll scale it forever. It's the difference between moving the mountain and scaling the mountain. Know their why. Number 3. You are absolutely not responsible for somebody's ultimate success in this business. You think, really? Nope. I'll say that again. You are absolutely not responsible for somebody's ultimate success in this business. But you are clearly responsible for getting them started off right. Take that responsibility seriously. I've had people that have joined the organization that I'm part of, that I know, it stretched their credit card to put in a $150 order. I've sat at kitchen tables with people with tears running down their face, telling me how bad they need life to change. I can't guarantee that girl or that guy's success in this business. But what I do take deadly serious is my ability to get them started. Once they step up to that starting line and they place that order and they get that position, baby, I'm all over you. You got to do it. If they bail out, if they fall out, if they become an 80%er, let them go. Let them go. But you got to be willing to, on the front end, help people get started right. If you don't, shame on you. I heard somebody say one time, you know what, in this business, he says, all I do is I just get them signed up, I get them going, and I'm moving on to the next guy. And I literally said to myself, and that gentleman told me that, this is how he said, he says, you know what, I move on to the next guy, and you know what, to be honest with you, Steve, I may not even talk to that first person I signed up. And I literally said to myself, shame on you, mister. Shame on you. This is too big a deal to do that to somebody. They're putting their hopes and their dreams in a vision that you gave them of a better life. Step up there and help them be successful. Help them be all that they can be in this thing. Don't leave somebody. Don't leave them. Man, I thank God every day that Kelly never left me hanging with an investment on a convenience store. He didn't leave me hanging. Taught me everything I know. But understand this. You're not responsible for their ultimate success. Get them started. You're the CEO of your business. Get that. You're the CEO. You are the CEO, and it is not your sponsor's job to build your business for you. Our business is on the inside leg of my sponsor. I have, in the organization that Joni and I are blessed to be part of, 13,000 IBOs, and not one of them come from my upline. Zero, zilch, none. Don't believe me? I'll three-way you into the company. I am the CEO of this company. I am building the organization that Joni and I are blessed to be part of. I take full responsibility for it every single day. And part of that responsibility is to get you started right. But at the end of the day, all I can do is get you started. Now it's on you. Now you got to build. Now you got to become the CEO of your business. That's why this is very important. On your action sheets, you've got that list of creating a list, right? Creating your list. You know what I'm talking about? The hot list, whatever different. I think Jared calls it the hot list. Is that right, JR? The hot list. I call it the board of directors. The board of directors. Why do I call it that? Because I'm the CEO of my business, and I'm looking for a board of directors to join me. Listen, I've got a lot of good friends in this world. I got a lot of really good friends. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't want them in my business with me. I'm just telling you. They ain't going to be my board of directors. I started a nonprofit organization one day. Joni would tell you. I labored over who I was going to have as my board of directors. Why? Because I wanted to create a board of directors that would hold this big fella responsible. That had the courage to say to me, Steve Michael, you're off pace. You're not doing it right. You're making it about you. That's what I wanted in my board of directors. So when I help people get started in Genesis Pure, I say to them, I say, hey, who are you going to create for your board of directors? The influential people in your life you've got relationships with, you trust them already, and they're the people that you would want to be on a board of directors when you're the CEO. Who are they? Those are your first 5 or 6 people. It's important that you help establish that. Critical. But here's the problem. As leaders sometimes, we help them write that list. We help them write that list. The problem is this. Then we leave them with the list. And the average person doesn't know what to do in this business. And I'm going to tell you something. When that board of directors, as I call them, are your closest friends, are the people that already trust you and believe in you, and the first 2 say you're crazy, they never get to 3, 4, and 5. But if I'm sitting there next to them, and I'm connecting with them, and I'm sharing my story, and then the new person hears my passion, they hear my commitment, and they hear my confidence in what we're doing, and they hear the size of my check, that's when that person says yes. And that's when the new IBO that's part of the organization that we're part of is fired up. That's when they're excited. The converse side is desperation. And I hate to see a person desperate. I hate to see a person when they sat down with me and I built up their hopes, their dreams, and their vision for greatness, and the first two people say no. I take responsibility and not let that happen to them. Make sure you're doing that. That's how you get somebody started off right. At the end of the day, though, JR talked about, I'm going to call it running. He didn't talk about running the race, but we talk about the different ways to build this. I look at this business as a marathon. A marathon. Any marathon runners in the room? One? Oh, yeah. I remember. No, I will never call you. I met him a couple weeks ago in Effingham. This is a marathon. Now, you can run a marathon in two different ways. You can sprint it to win it, or you can run it to finish it. Sprint it to win it, or run it to finish it. You're responsible for helping somebody understand the difference and help get them where they want to be out of the gate. You're responsible for running the race with them if they want to run the race until they can look at you as Matt Vermeer can with me today. Running full-time school teacher, has a small taekwondo business, daddy of 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, 3. Right? Building this part-time, but today, he don't need Steve Michael. He doesn't need me, and I'm okay with that. He calls me when he does. Doesn't call me that often. Building a business. But when we first got started, Matt, we burned it up together, didn't we? Ran the roads. Watched a lot of bugs die in the windshield. We traveled the highway. On the phone. Ma Bell loved us. All right? That's what's important. Helping a person get started. Number 4, personal activity solves all problems. Personal activity solves all problems. This goes back to leading by example. People call me all the time and say to me, how do I maximize the pay plan? Very simply put, first order bonus. It's the only way to maximize the pay plan. First order bonus. Because if you're getting a first order bonus, you're also getting revenue share if you're part of the revenue share plan. It's the only way to maximize the pay plan. First order bonus. And so, from a team building perspective, when you have somebody call you and they say, and this will happen, man, Steve, I'm just not real happy with the size of my check. Man, it's just not getting me where I want it to get me. Man, I've been stuck at silver forever. I don't think this thing works. The people that are part of the organization that Joy and I are part of, they know. You make that phone call to me, and if I got a computer in front of me, baby, I'm typing fast because I'm pulling up my back office. And you got to know as leaders, you got to be okay to say this to somebody. It's that important to them. You got to be willing to say, listen, when's the last time you sponsored somebody? When's the last time you sponsored somebody? Because that's the only way to maximize the pay plan, right? New enrollments. Mark Polson says, I love this business most when I'm doing it. I love it most. I put more people on laughing at that. I thought that's pretty funny. I love this business most when I'm doing it. When I'm enrolling new people. And Mark and I have done it. Mark's got 20 years in this industry. Mark will say, this business lives and dies on what he calls new blood. A new person, a new IBO, somebody fresh to work with. Mark's got a blue diamond position in this company. He's at a tennis outing with his son Dane a week ago, sitting in the stands, meets a contractor. Life's not going his way. He don't have life on his terms. And what's he doing? He's showing him Genesis Pure. He's not vomiting on him. He's showing it to him. Hey, let me show you what's working for me. Let me show you what I'm doing at the age of 53. First order bonus, baby. It's important. Teach and train your people that. And number 5. As you build an organization, take care of your team. You're not too busy to return a text message. You're not too busy to return a phone call. There ain't nobody that busy. I brought my cell phone up here for two reasons. One is so I could watch my own time. And two, so that I could count, that I could have a track in the 1 hour that I've been on this stage. At this very moment, I have 27 text messages, 13 emails, and 6 phone calls in 1 hour. I'll return every single one of them. I got a lot more going on than just Genesis Pure. I care desperately about my team. They believe in me. They've trusted me. They've trusted me with an opportunity that has changed my life. And I am sold out and radical for every single one of them that wants to be sold out with me. Sell out to your team, and they will sell out to you. Treat them any other way, and I don't blame them for leaving. We've got a tremendous opportunity on our hands here. I hope you see it. I hope you recognize it. I hope you believe it from the depths of your heart, what you have your hands on here. If you forget everything else I said today as I close, put in concrete your vision. Set it in stone. Make it unwavering. Nobody's going to touch it. Nobody's going to keep you from it. And make it happen. Be a game changer. Don't scale the mountains of this world. Move them. So that one day, 3, 4, 5 years from now, you and the organization that you've helped make a difference in their lives, you guys can stand atop of a mountain. Raise your hands in the air. In a world that's trying to beat you down forever, you can stand there together and say, we did it. We made a difference. We moved the mountains. We've been game changers. And I promise you this, if you're not part of the organization that I'm part of, I will stand on that mountain with you.